King tides are back, so is high surf. We'll show you what it looks like up and down our coast coming up.
The cold front moved out, but cold air and those king tides are still around. Details ahead.
A Serena Valley man killed after trying to save his dog stuck on the train tracks.
Authorities are concerned someone could get shot following a string of aggressive doorbell ditching. Tonight, we're working for you so you know your rights.
Why don't we pick some things out for you?
The San Diego Junior Theater celebrates 76 years and a new alliance with our neighbor to the south, Tijuana.
CBS 8 News live at 6 starts now.
New information tonight about an unidentified woman found murdered more than 30 years ago in Blythe, California. Good evening, I'm Jesse Pagan in for Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. A serial killer nicknamed the Happy Face Killer confessed to murdering the woman in 1992, but her name is still unknown. CBS 8's David Gottfredson spoke with a relative of the victim who never knew she had a half-sister until law enforcement contacted her.
I want to get to the justice and to find the truth for my sister.
Police are trying to identify this woman 3 decades after her body was found dumped by the side of a highway in Blythe, California in Riverside County.
It's very sad, that I didn't get to even hug her one time.
About a year ago, Summer Gonzalez found out through DNA testing that the victim was her half-sister, a sister she never knew.
I knew my dad's character, that he was a ladies' man. He had a lot of women when he was younger. Even in his old age, he had plenty of girlfriends hanging around everywhere. So I was not shocked, but I was devastated.
Summer's father, Alfonso Saldana Gonzalez Sr., died in 2006. He had fathered at least 9 children with 5 women, but no one in his family remembers the murder victim.
If anybody recognizes the pictures of my father and they knew his whereabouts between the year of 1964 and 1967, he would have lived either in Harris County, Houston, Texas, or Santa Barbara County, which is Santa Maria, California.
The Riverside DA's office has already identified the murderer, Keith Hunter Jesperson, a serial killer nicknamed the Happy Face Killer for a number of confession letters he wrote where he drew smiley faces. He worked as a long-haul semi-truck driver.
Jesperson is currently serving multiple life sentences for having killed 8 women across the country. This woman is the last of all his victims to remain unidentified.
Earlier this week, the Riverside DA put out a YouTube video asking for the public's help. The murder victim may have ties to Southern California.
The killer referred to the woman as Claudia, although that may not be her real name. It is suspected in the morning before her death, she caught a ride with a grocery store truck driver traveling from Las Vegas or Barstow region along the I-15 near the Cajon Pass. Claudia then walked over to Keith Hunter Jesperson while he was working on his purple 1989 Peterbilt. They traveled down the I-10 East to the Burns Brother truck stop near Indio. After eating, the two had a heated argument in Jesperson's truck. This is where he killed her.
The unidentified woman was aged 25 to 35 at the time of her death, about 5 foot 7 inches tall with medium build, with brown hair but possibly dyed blonde. She also had a tattoo of 2 black dots on the side of her right thumb.
We are of Mexican descent, so it's more likely that my sister's mom, she would have lived among Mexican people.
Summer says she is not happy with the Riverside DA's office because even though the killer has been convicted, they still won't release her sister's remains to the family so they can have a funeral.
It would be nice to know her real name. It would be wonderful if I could find her mother's name so that I could include those items on her tombstone. But I know that she's my blood and I want to lay her to rest with her family. I think that she would have wanted that too.
David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
Investigators say the murder victim's mother may have been from Southeast Texas or Louisiana. If you have any information, get in touch with the Riverside District Attorney's Office. San Diego County health officials are investigating a norovirus outbreak linked to raw oysters. They say 41 people have gotten sick after eating the oysters imported from Sonora, Mexico. Officials say the oysters were sold at 3 The Fish Shop locations in Pacific Beach, Point Loma, and Encinitas, and the Carlsbad Aqua Farm. There could be more locations involved, so anyone with Rocky Point oysters packed by Golpac, that's Golpac, should set them aside until further notice.
King tides, big waves, and strong winds have created quite a scene along the San Diego coastline today. CBS 8's Shannon Handy has more on what it was like in our beach communities.
Low tide hit at 4 o'clock today, so you can see just how far out the water is. But earlier this morning, when it was high tide, we saw the waves get up to the boardwalk wall. Some of that water actually seeped through onto the boardwalk. No major coastal flooding, but elsewhere we did see some water go into some public streets.
You usually only see them a few times a year in San Diego. King tides occur when a new or full moon is closest to the Earth. They make for not only very high tides, but extremely low ones as well.
I've heard that this happens, but I've never seen it personally, so I was like, let's go see it.
Magda Santiago and her family were among several people who came to check out the king tides in Mission Beach. At its highest point this morning, waves hit the wall just shy of going over, though some of the water did seep through onto the boardwalk.
I haven't seen it, so it's something new for us. I mean, for me, but it's nice.
Over in Ocean Beach, there was added background music to Mother Nature's show. Aside from the king tides, there are pretty big waves too. A high surf advisory is in effect through tonight. We saw them pounding the OB Pier and crashing up against the rocks as people stopped to observe. This woman was so mesmerized she used her phone so those elsewhere could watch as well.
Right now, I am actually live on TikTok showing everybody what it's like out here at OB, watching these big waves hitting underneath that pier. It's awesome.
It was a similar scene up and down our coast, including along Sunset Cliffs. No major flooding issues were reported, but water did wash up onto the street in Imperial Beach south of the pier. In addition to the high tide and big waves, it was also windy. A wind advisory was in effect earlier in the day. Gusts were so strong, light posts were swaying back and forth. Back in the water, while most people kept their distance, others did not. We saw a sailboat braving the conditions. Live on our air this morning, this swimmer took a dip before quickly getting out. And in OB, this surfer ran right in and stayed there, despite the not so ideal conditions.
Lifeguards are advising people to stay out of the water, and for the most part, they are adhering to that advice, except for those two you just saw in that story. Also, I mentioned the low tides. This is a great weekend to get out there to our local tide pools where you might be able to see some pretty cool creatures. And that is the latest from here in Mission Beach. I'll send it back to you.
Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis is also keeping track of those king tides.
She's here now with more on that and our rainfall totals. Carlene, it was funny. I woke up at 8 a.m. It was pouring rain. We're supposed to play pickleball, and for a couple hours, we're like, are we going to play? Are we not going to play? Rain cleared up, ended up beautiful, and if you were a late sleeper, you didn't even know it rained.
I knew because I said it, but I was one of those late sleepers and I woke up to sunshine this morning. So yes, the front did quickly move through, and we were dealing with some showers earlier this morning as well as that coastal flooding because of the king tides. So we will continue to have king tides impacting along our coastline. We're no longer under that high surf advisory that expired about 7 minutes ago actually. Now when you look at what's still in effect, you have that coastal flood advisory because king tides tomorrow, that extra pull from our new moon phase. That's going to be on our morning high tide. So that's 1 minute before 9, and that's going to be up to about 6.7 feet. So still with that minor flooding right along our coastline, on the boardwalks and the parking lots. Just be careful out there. But as Shannon also mentioned, it's a great time to go check out those tide pools in the afternoon hours. And by tomorrow, you also have the exceptionally low tide. So if you want to get out there a little before 4, as we are looking at that low tide, and that's going to be at 4:21. When it comes to rainfall totals, well, we did have some rainfall that moved through, a few hundredths of an inch here or there, more than 1/10 of an inch for downtown, and also saw an inch of snow in our local mountains. We will go ahead and take a look at another advisory that's in effect because of the cold air. It's not going anywhere. Frost going to be an issue. Back to you.
Thank you, Carlene. San Diego County Sheriff's detectives say a train hit and killed a man this morning while he was walking his dog near the Sorrento Valley Coaster Station.
CBS 8's Abby Black is live in Sorrento Valley tonight, where she spoke with his girlfriend about this terrible loss. Abby?
Marcella and Jesse, as we learn more about the man who was hit and killed while walking his dog here in Sorrento Valley, it makes your heart sink. Deputies do not believe that this is a suicide, rather possibly an attempt to try to save his dog. I spoke to his girlfriend this morning, and she says that he loved his husky dog, and he was the nicest man that she'd ever known. Well, sheriff's deputies were on the scene investigating a man who'd been hit and killed by a North County Transit District coaster train. Investigators say that San Diego police received a call about a distressed dog at his owner's door not far from the tracks in Sorrento Valley. A Sheriff's Department lieutenant says that the train conductor was heading south around 6:30 this morning when he saw a man attempting to free a dog on the tracks. The train's conductor tried to hit the brakes, but the man was thrown from the tracks. Deputies say they did not find a leash, but believe the husky ran on the tracks and the man was trying to get him off, but that's when he was hit by the train. Deputies are still investigating and have not released his identity until his family is notified. Now, out of respect for them and their privacy, we are not naming the man or his girlfriend, but I did speak to her this morning. She says the man loved his dog named Kilo, and he was about 2 years old. Her 52-year-old boyfriend had 2 sons, ages 19 and 25, and he lived in an apartment about a mile away from the tracks. The girlfriend says the dog is now at her home and is okay. She says the man was the nicest person she knew and would always send her positive messages. Amtrak and Coaster were stopped during this emergency but returned to service. Reporting live in Sorrento Valley, Abby Black, CBS 8.
All right, Abby, thanks. Palisades Tahoe Resort has reopened in Placer County 1 day after a deadly avalanche. A 66-year-old skier was killed and 3 other people were hurt. While the resort reopened many of its runs, its iconic KT-22 lift for expert skiers remained closed today while crews continued to clean up the slide area.
Coming up, the new rules you need to know about in the new year when it comes to EVs and tax credits.
Plus, a new bill to redevelop the Hillcrest DMV property moves ahead in the state assembly.
And a judge has granted a conditional release into the community for a sexually violent predator.